In my life, I've always seemed to be very interested in what I will call broadly is the use of language. It started in high school's sophomore year when a teacher asked the class if they have ever heard of or used a thesaurus. No one answered in the affirmative. I was so intrigued that there was such a depth of additional ways that one could communicate on any topic. As a homework assignment, the teacher requested that we check out a thesaurus and use other words in an essay rather than the normal ones we might use. It was so delightful to see a whole new world of words and meanings come into life. To this day, it is always intriguing to hear someone with a large vocabulary throw out words as if by second nature they are just a part of their lives. My wife and I once took a great courses series on the origins of language. It was presented by a Professor John McWhorter, who traced the development and changes of words and language over the course of history. Professor McWhorter is an associate professor at Columbia University in New York City, specializing in linguistics. He received his degrees from Stanford University in California and has previously taught at Cornell University. It was a fascinating series of lectures. His ability to include his wonderful sense of humor made it all the more charming to listen to and appreciate. How words and meanings moved from, say, the Middle East or Asia into Europe and eventually into North and South America is a fascinating journey. The most important takeaway that he gives is the importance of language constantly developing and changing. Words in Italian, Latin, or French are essentially brought into other languages, such as English. Just think, in one category, how many French and Italian words are used in culinary, preparation, and service. While I have a minimum relationship with Italian, French, Latin, and Spanish, it is always interesting to hear people converse in their native tongue. It could be at a grocery store such as Whole Foods Market, where many of the checkout employees are from Haiti and speak French or a French dialect. It could be just people passing you by while you are out and about or on a radio or TV station. It is always wonderful to watch translators communicate to other languages. It was kind of amazing when recently the new Pope Leo XIV moved so easily from English, his native tongue, to Spanish, his adopted tongue from being a bishop in Peru, to Italian from his stints in Rome. Another interesting fact is how accents differ even within the same country. We see it in the way people speak in the Boston and New York City areas, where people can tell what borough you came from, or the southern states and the Creole language found in Louisiana. How different are our speech mannerisms in the United States versus Great Britain, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland? Also, just think of how totally different is our current word usage than from English during the Chaucer or Shakespearean periods. Many people claim that there is such a diversity in Italy that the language often sounds totally different from Italian, depending on whether you are from Sicily in the south, Rome in central, or Milan in the north, or areas in between. My wife recounts a series of encounters where her mom spoke very well in her dialect of Sicily, but was treated with some concern as possibly dangerous in northern Milan, where my wife was studying, with the Milan Opera House. When I was a child, the Irish brogues of both my parents were an obvious indicator that I was Irish. Any relatives, such as an aunt or uncle, that also came from Ireland were immediate giveaways. No way of hiding. Then there are the traditional prejudices that exist between foreigners and perceived natives. For simplicity, how wise for the United Nations to just limit the official languages to French and English rather than have over 120 ways to express each other. Thanks for taking the time to listen on such a different subject, but one that is quite interesting for all of us. What a miracle language really is. Farewell until the next time.